I never thought I'd be the guy to catch his fiancée cheating just days before our wedding, but here I am, living that nightmare. Her name was Emily, beautiful, ambitious, and honestly kind of a bitch sometimes. She always had this way of acting like she was better than everyone else, especially when she was trying to hide something. We'd been together for 5 years, and I always believed we had a future. I was ready to settle down, get married, build a life. Or at least I thought I was. The signs started subtly at first. Emily's phone would buzz more than usual, and she'd suddenly get defensive when I asked who she was texting. She'd excuse herself and lock her phone screen so I couldn't see anything. I brushed it off as paranoia because she was always the type to get irritable when I questioned her. But then came the small things, her being late for plans, canceling at the last minute, and always working late. She'd say it was just her job, that her boss, Todd, was pushing her to finish some big project at the last minute. I believed her, mostly because I didn't want to believe anything else. We had plans to get married in 2 weeks. I didn't want to think about her sneaking around. But the real turning point was when I found the receipts. I was cleaning her jewelry box out, trying to find something sentimental to give her on our upcoming wedding day. That's when I saw it. A small, crumpled envelope tucked inside a compartment I'd never really looked in before. Curiosity got the better of me, and I pulled it out. Inside were hotel receipts, two of them, one for a weekend in the city, another for a different hotel 3 weeks later. The dates matched up with her work trips, but the hotels were expensive, and I knew she didn't have any work-related meetings that would require such lavish accommodations. My stomach twisted as I looked closer. The receipts didn't just say she stayed there for a few hours. These were overnight stays. And the room service charges. They were for meals and drinks that didn't scream business dinner. They screamed sex, plain and simple. I felt my heart pounding. I thought maybe it was some mistake, maybe a mix-up, but I knew deep down I was looking at proof of something much worse. The thing that made it worse, I could see her handwriting on the hotel invoices, her name, her signature, like she was trying to hide it from me, but she didn't do a very good job. I remember holding that crumpled envelope in my hand and feeling this weird numbness. I wasn't angry yet, just shock. I kept asking myself how she could do this, right before we were supposed to get married. Did I mean nothing? Was I just a placeholder in her life while she fucked her boss? That's when I realized that trust, which I thought was unbreakable, was shattered into pieces. All those years, all those plans, and now I was staring at a reality I didn't want to accept. Emily had been lying to me for months. She was cheating, and she was lying about it every step of the way. I didn't yell or scream then. I just sat there, staring at the receipts, feeling this cold, sinking feeling that nothing would ever be the same again. The next few hours after I found those receipts felt like a blur. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. My mind kept racing over everything. I kept asking myself how I didn't see it sooner. I mean, I knew she'd been acting distant, but I thought maybe she was just stressed with work. I convinced myself she was just tired, maybe overwhelmed with the wedding planning. But deep down, I knew something was off. The receipts didn't lie, and her behavior didn't lie. The worst part was that I felt betrayed, but also terrified of what I'd find if I confronted her. I kept telling myself I needed to hear her side, to give her a chance to explain. Still, I knew in my gut that whatever she said, it wouldn't be enough. I needed to confront her, but I didn't want to do it right away. I needed some time to process, time to figure out what I really wanted to say. Finally, I decided I couldn't keep quiet. I waited until she came home from work that evening, pretending everything was normal. The house was quiet, but my mind was loud. As soon as she walked through the door, I looked her in the eyes and said, "We need to talk. Now." She hesitated, her face flickering with that bitchy smirk she always had. She was trying to dodge questions. "What's wrong?" she asked, crossing her arms, her tone a little too casual, like she thought I was overreacting. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the hotel receipts. Her eyes widened for a split second, then she immediately started lying. "That's not what it looks like," she snapped. "You're overthinking it. Maybe it's just work-related stuff. You know how Todd can be. He's been pushing my buttons lately." I didn't buy it, not for a second. "That's a hotel, Emily. Not a conference room, not a client dinner. You stayed there overnight twice. With him, don't lie to me. Her face turned red, then she started mocking me. Oh, so now I'm a damn cheat just because I stayed at a hotel with my boss, please. It's none of your business what I do at work. I felt this surge of rage and sadness boiling inside me. I never thought she'd throw that at me. The whole "it's none of your business" bullshit. The way she lied, the way she tried to dismiss it like it was nothing, made me feel even more betrayed. I told her I did believe her, that I saw what I saw and that I deserved honesty. But she just scoffed, called me insecure, said I was jealous, and that I was paranoid. That night was the beginning of the end. I realized I was standing in front of someone who was capable of lying so effortlessly, so convincingly, that I almost doubted my own senses. The betrayal cut deep, and I knew then that I couldn't just sweep this under the rug. I wasn't the type to blindly forgive and forget. I wanted the truth, and I wanted to figure out what that meant for us. The days that followed were pure torture. I kept replaying that conversation over and over, trying to figure out if I had missed any signs. Honestly, part of me wanted to believe her, because facing the truth that she'd been cheating on me just before our wedding was too much to handle. But every time I thought about her lying, dismissing everything, and calling me insecure, I felt this gnawing anger building inside. I started digging more. I couldn't just rely on her word, no way. I went through her phone, her emails, anything I could get my hands on. I wanted to see if she'd slipped up somewhere else. That's when I found the other evidence: text messages, photos she'd sent him, and some strange late-night calls she tried to hide. It was clear she'd been lying for months, hiding this double life. I felt sick. I thought about all the plans we'd made, all the trust I'd given her. Gone, just like that. I remember the day I decided I'd had enough. I sat her down, told her I knew everything, and asked her directly what the hell was going on. Her response: she got defensive, aggressive almost, and started spinning stories about how it was just sex, how it meant nothing, that Todd was just helping her with work, and that I was overreacting. She said I was insecure, that I didn't understand her, that her job was stressful and she needed some kind of escape. Honestly, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I looked at her with this mixture of heartbreak and rage. How could she be so callous? How could she just brush aside what she did like it was some minor mistake? I felt this surge of disgust rise up. Disgust for her, disgust for myself for not seeing it sooner. Minutes felt like hours. I was trying to stay calm, but inside I was boiling over. I told her I needed space, that I couldn't trust her anymore, and that I was done pretending everything was fine. That moment was a defining point. I knew I had to decide whether I was going to try to save whatever was left of this relationship or walk away entirely. I felt betrayed, humiliated, angry, like I'd been punched in the gut. But underneath all that was this deep sadness. I loved her once and I thought we had a future. Now I wasn't sure if I'd ever trust her again. I kept asking myself, can I forgive her? Can I move past this? But the truth was, I didn't have an answer yet. All I knew was that my entire world had been turned upside down in a matter of days. The next few weeks were like living in a nightmare. I couldn't focus on anything: work, friends, the wedding plans. My mind kept circling back to her, to those hotel receipts, to all the lies. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face. That bitchy smirk she always had when she thought she was getting away with something. I kept feeling this burning mixture of betrayal and anger. Honestly, it was hard to breathe sometimes. I wondered how I was supposed to face her, look her in the eye, when I knew she'd been sleeping with her boss behind my back. I tried to confront her again, hoping maybe she'd come clean or give me some reason to stay. But every time I brought it up, she'd turn it around, call me insecure, say I was overreacting, or accuse me of not trusting her enough. She'd cry, yell, even accuse me of being jealous. It was like talking to a wall. She refused to admit anything, kept insisting it was just sex, and that it had nothing to do with love or her feelings. But I knew better. I knew that kind of lie wouldn't hold up. One night I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I went through her phone again, something I never thought I'd do. And there it was, more texts, more photos, messages she'd deleted but somehow left behind in her cloud backup. I saw how she flirted with him, how she called him her work husband, and how they planned weekends away. I felt this deep, raw pain like I'd been punched in the gut again. This wasn't just a fling. It was a full-blown affair, and she was so good at hiding it that I'd almost convinced myself I was paranoid. That realization hit me hard. I mean, it's one thing to suspect someone, but to see concrete proof. It's like shattering a mirror. You can't unsee it. I started asking myself if I even knew her anymore. Was she even the same person I fell in love with? Or was she just some manipulative, selfish woman who used me as a backup while she fucked her boss for some secret thrill? The thought made me sick. But amidst all the chaos, I also felt this strange sense of clarity. I knew I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I needed to decide what I was going to do, whether I was going to fight for this marriage or walk away. I never thought I'd be the guy to throw in the towel over betrayal, but this was something else entirely. I felt like I was losing myself trying to hold on to something that was already broken. The night I finally sat her down and told her I knew everything was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Her face twisted into that familiar bitchy sneer like she thought she could lie her way out of it again. She started with her usual bullshit. It was just sex. It meant nothing, she said. You're overreacting. Todd is just a friend who's helping me with work stress. That's when I lost it. I told her I wasn't stupid, that I'd seen the receipts, the texts, the photos. I told her I wasn't going to be played like some fool anymore. Her reaction: she got even more defensive. She yelled at me, called me jealous, insecure, crazy for even thinking she'd do something so stupid. She said I was suffocating her, that I didn't trust her, and that she needed space. That her work stress was just an excuse to get away from me. Honestly, I wanted to shake her. How could she lie so effortlessly? How could she pretend that her secret weekends with her boss didn't mean anything? I told her I couldn't do this anymore, that I was done pretending everything was fine. I felt a mixture of heartbreak and rage, the kind of rage that makes your hands shake, your vision blur. I packed a bag and left that night, not because I wanted to run away, but because I knew I couldn't be around her anymore. I couldn't fake the smile, pretend I didn't know what she'd done. I needed space to think, to breathe, to figure out what I really wanted. The following days were pure emotional hell. I was angry at her, hurt, betrayed, but also confused about myself. I kept asking what I did wrong, why I wasn't enough for her. I kept thinking about the woman I loved, the woman who used to be kind and caring, and how she'd become someone so selfish and manipulative. I kept coming back to that feeling, how much I had trusted her, how she'd shattered that trust in the worst way possible. All I know now is that I can't pretend I don't see it anymore. I can't ignore the truth. I can't keep living in this fog of lies. Whether I leave her or try to fix things, I realize one thing. For sure, I need to protect myself. I need to stop making excuses for someone who clearly doesn't respect me. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that I'll never look at her the same way again. The betrayal is too deep, and honestly, I don't think I can ever fully trust her again. Now, sitting here reflecting on everything, I realize that betrayal changes you. It's like a scar that never really goes away. I thought I knew Emily, but now I see her differently, like she was just pretending to be someone she's not. Honestly, I don't even feel angry anymore, just numb. I've learned that sometimes love isn't enough, and trust, once broken, is almost impossible to repair. I've decided to walk away from her. Not because I want to punish her, but because I deserve better than someone who can lie so blatantly, who can sleep with her boss right before our wedding, and then deny it like it's nothing. I won't be the guy who stays and hopes she changes. That's not love, that's just masochism. I need to rebuild myself, find my own happiness, and remember what it means to trust again. Looking back, I see how blind I was. I was so eager for a future, for a marriage, that I ignored all the signs. I let her manipulate me with her tears and her lies. But I've come to realize that real strength is knowing when to walk away. Sometimes the only way to find peace is to cut out the toxicity, walk away from the betrayal, the lies, the betrayal of trust. So that's where I am now. I'm healing, slowly but surely. I'll never forget what happened. I don't think I can, but I'm moving forward. I learned a lot about love, about trust, about myself. I learned that the worst pain often leads to the greatest clarity. And for anyone else out there going through something similar, my advice is simple. Don't ignore the signs, don't let anyone treat you like an option, and never stay in a situation where your trust is broken repeatedly. I don't know what's next for me, but I do know I won't let this define me. I'll find someone who values honesty and respect, and I'll rebuild what I lost. Some wounds heal slowly, but I'll get there. Trust is fragile, and once broken, it's a long road to rebuild. But if I've learned anything, it's that I deserve that chance, just like everyone else.